A millionaire is rushing home in a thunderstorm when he sees something shocking: a beggar woman cradling a newborn baby, soaked to the bone, shivering under a broken umbrella. Instead of ignoring her, he hands her his house keys and tells her to stay there till the rain stops. But when he returns the next morning, the woman is gone. So is the baby. And something's been left behind. Something that reveals a dark, emotional truth that will leave him shaking to the core. Before starting the story, make sure to subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any update in future. The rain wasn't just falling, it was pouring like punishment. Thunder cracked through the sky like a whip. And under that bruised gray heaven, a sleek black Rolls-Royce cut through the city streets like it didn't belong to this world. Inside, Adrian Wolf, a 39-year-old tech millionaire with too much money and too few feelings, was tapping on his phone. He wasn't looking out the window, because when you're rich, you learn to stop seeing poor people. Until something broke through the blur of the windshield. A figure. A woman. No, not just a woman, a mother. Soaked to the bone. Sitting on the sidewalk. One hand over her head holding a broken umbrella, the other wrapped around a tiny newborn. The baby wasn't crying. That's what scared him. Babies cry, but this one was too cold to even make a sound. Adrian blinked. Something in his chest twitched. An old memory? A buried guilt? A glitch in the system? His driver asked, "Should I keep going, sir?" Adrian didn't answer. He opened the door into the storm and stepped out. The rain attacked him like it had been waiting. He walked up to the woman. She didn't look up. Her lips were blue, her hands trembling. The baby was wrapped in a towel so thin it couldn't keep a ghost warm. "Do you have a place to go?" he asked. She flinched, like his voice hurt her. "No," she whispered. Adrian looked back at his car, then at the woman. And then he did something even he didn't understand. He reached into his coat, pulled out a set of keys, and held them out. "Go to my house," he said. "It's 5 blocks from here. Red brick. White door. Use the back entrance. The housekeeper's off tonight. You and your baby can stay till morning. I'll be at the office overnight anyway." The woman didn't move. "Please," he added, surprising even himself. She took the keys like they might vanish if she blinked. "Why?" she asked softly. Adrian shrugged, half laughing. "I don't know," he said. "Maybe I'm just tired of pretending I don't care." He turned back to the car. Didn't look over his shoulder. Didn't ask for her name. Didn't take a photo. Didn't think twice. But something about the moment haunted him all night. The next morning, he came back. He unlocked the front door, expecting to hear the soft rustle of footsteps. Maybe a thank you. Maybe crying. Maybe silence. What he got was wrong silence. Dead silence. The house was empty. No woman. No baby. Nothing stolen. Except his peace. He walked into the guest room, the one with the fireplace and soft pink walls. And that's when he saw it. A note. Folded neatly. Resting on the pillow. Written in shaky, wet handwriting. He picked it up with trembling fingers. It said, "You don't know what you've saved me from. But one day, you might find out. Thank you for giving me the first night in months where I didn't have to run." His eyes scanned the room. Everything in place. Except something was added. On the dresser sat a photograph of her, but not as a beggar. She was in a white coat, a stethoscope around her neck, smiling, confident, alive. A doctor. Not just any doctor. Dr. Layla Monroe. The woman who'd been declared missing 6 months ago. Whose disappearance had been all over the news. Whose husband, a powerful pharmaceutical CEO, claimed she'd had a mental breakdown and run away with their newborn after exposing his company's secrets. Adrian's pulse exploded in his ears. He opened the photo frame. Behind it, another note. "He took everything from me. My license. My money. My child. He told the world I was insane because I tried to tell the truth. I've been hiding ever since. You gave me one night of safety. That was all I needed. To disappear. Forever. Adrian dropped the photo, stepped back. She wasn't a beggar. She was a whistleblower, a mother, a survivor. And now she was gone. But not just gone, gone with purpose. And he was now the only one who knew she was alive. But that wasn't all. On the back of the note, one final line. If he finds you, he'll know you helped me. Adrian didn't sleep that night. Not a minute, not a second. He sat alone in his marble kitchen, staring at the house keys in his hand, the ones he had given away so carelessly. Now, they were back in his pocket. And everything else? Gone. Vanished like a dream you're not sure was real. The guest room was untouched, no food eaten, no bed disturbed, not a footprint on the polished wooden floor. Only that photo, that letter, and a feeling, a heavy, pressing, sharp-edged feeling that he had touched something he shouldn't have. Not in a bad way, but in a way that would change everything. He turned the photo over again. The white coat, the calm smile, that name, Dr. Layla Monroe. He remembered the news, vaguely. She'd disappeared under strange circumstances. There were whispers of scandal, corporate cover-ups, a nervous breakdown. Her husband had stood on national television with tears in his eyes, begging for her to come home. "I love you, Layla," he'd said. "Come back. We forgive you." Adrian had believed him, because that's what the media told everyone to believe. But now, holding that photo in his hands, he realized something horrible. He had trusted the wrong man and saved the wrong woman. Or maybe the only right one. By sunrise, Adrian was no longer just curious. He was obsessed. He searched for everything he could about Layla Monroe. Her medical background, her career, the missing person case, the interviews. And then he found it. A forum post. Buried, archived, almost deleted, written by someone anonymous. It said, "She tried to expose him. He destroyed her. The media only showed what he paid them to show. The truth? She wasn't crazy. She was right." Adrian's fingers trembled. He opened a folder on his computer, one he hadn't touched in years. Inside it was his own private file collection. Not business. Not investments. People. People he had helped. People he had hurt. Secrets that money let him hide. Because Adrian Wolfe wasn't clean either. He made his billions by selling a startup algorithm to a defense contractor. An algorithm that tracked people, predicted behavior, could be used for protection or surveillance. And Layla Monroe's name? It was in the system. Flagged, tracked, watched by her husband's company. He stared at the red tag next to her ID. Asset compromised. Monitor. Silence. Monitor. Silence. 2 words that meant erase. Adrian leaned back. He wasn't just part of this now. He had been part of it all along without knowing. He wasn't a savior. He was a cog in the machine that had destroyed her. His heart was racing. Had she known who he was? Is that why she left the photo? The notes? Was it a message? Or a warning? And then, a knock on the door. Not urgent. Not loud. Just precise. He froze. Checked the cameras. Nothing. Checked again. Blank static. Impossible. He crept to the door. No shadow under the crack. No silhouette through the frosted glass. He opened it, slowly. Nothing. Just rain. Again. Like a repeat of the storm that started it all. Except, on the porch was a small envelope. No name. No stamp. Just red ink. Inside was a single sheet of paper. One line. "You were seen." That's it. No signature. No date. Just a threat. Or maybe a test. He stepped back inside, the weight of that paper heavier than gold. Someone knew what he had done. Maybe her husband. Maybe someone worse. And now Adrian had a decision. Stay out of it. Delete the files. Act like it never happened. Or find her. Protect her. And maybe find his own redemption in the process. Because for the first time in years, he felt something real. Not money, not power, purpose. A stranger with a baby had walked into his life, drenched in rain and silence, and left behind a storm inside his soul, one he could no longer ignore. Adrian didn't leave his house for 2 days. He pulled the curtains shut, turned off his phone, unplugged the smart devices, even covered the camera on his laptop, something he used to laugh at people for doing. But now he wasn't laughing, because someone out there was watching. And worse, waiting. He kept the envelope on the table beside him. That one line, "You were seen," echoed louder than any scream. He hadn't told anyone about Layla. Not even his assistant. Not even his own brother. So who knew? Or was it a bluff? A test to see how he'd react? He wanted to believe it was nothing. But deep down, he knew the truth. This wasn't over. In fact, it hadn't even begun. He pored over everything Layla had left behind. The photo, the letter, the second note hidden behind the frame. Each word was carved into his memory now. Each line told him this wasn't just a woman on the run. This was someone who'd been erased. Not because she did something wrong, but because she knew something right. And for the kind of people she was up against, truth was lethal. He needed answers. Not from the media. Not from search engines. He needed someone who understood how the game was played. So he reached out to an old friend, one he hadn't spoken to in years. Cashin Kane, a digital ghost, ex-hacker turned ethical cyber forensics analyst, a fancy title for a guy who used to break into government files for fun. Cashin didn't ask questions. Not when Adrian wired him $250,000 for a conversation. They met in a car parked under an abandoned overpass. No phones, no tech, just adrenaline and silence. Adrian handed him Layla's photo. "I need to know where she is. Or where she's going," he said. Cashin looked at the photo, paused, and then whispered, "You're late." "What?" Cashin looked at him hard. This woman, Layla Monroe? She didn't just vanish. She was disappeared. There's a difference. By her husband? Cashin shook his head. No, not just him. He's just the face. The puppet. The real force? The company. Adrian felt his stomach drop. "You mean the company that bought my software?" Cashin nodded. "They used your algorithm to track her. Silence her. She tried to expose something big. Bigger than what you think." Adrian's hands curled into fists. "What did she find?" Cashin hesitated, then pulled out a tiny flash drive from inside his coat. "I don't know everything, but this? This was hidden on a deep web server tied to her hospital's network." He handed the drive to Adrian. "It's encrypted." She hid it well. Whatever's on here, she didn't want anyone to find it. Adrian swallowed hard. "And now I have it." Cashin nodded. "Which means they'll come for you next." Adrian's heart pounded. "So what do I do?" Cashin leaned in close. "You find her first." That night, Adrian opened the drive on a laptop he bought with cash. No Wi-Fi, no cameras, just an offline machine in a locked room. The screen flickered. Encrypted files, dozens of them. Medical reports, financial statements, secret emails. But one folder stood out. It was called Sleepwalkers. He clicked it open. Inside were names. Hundreds of them. All patients from Layla's hospital. All given a drug in secret clinical trials. All showing side effects. All signed off by the board of directors, including her husband. The drug was marketed as a sleep aid. But these documents proved it was something else. A neurological suppressant. One that didn't just help people sleep. It made them forget. Forget pain. Forget memories. Forget truth. And the worst part? In many cases, it became permanent. Like the brain had been wiped clean. Adrian stared at the screen, ball rising in his throat. They weren't helping people. They were erasing them. And Layla had tried to blow the whistle. She was the only doctor who refused to sign the reports. The only one who wrote detailed notes. The only one who warned the patients. And then, she vanished. But not before copying everything. Everything. Now it was in Adrian's hands. He looked at the final file in the folder. A video. Labeled only, "If I don't make it." He clicked play. Layla appeared on screen. Eyes swollen from crying. Hair tied back. But her voice? Steady. Unbreakable. If you're seeing this, it means I didn't run far enough. It means they found me, or they're about to. But listen carefully. This wasn't about me, or money, or revenge. This was about people who didn't deserve to be forgotten. And if you can still hear my voice, then it's not too late to remember them. The video ended. Adrian sat there, frozen. This woman wasn't just trying to survive. She was trying to save others. And he had one question burning in his chest now. Where was she? Where had she gone? And how many days did he have before they came for her? Or came for him? Adrian couldn't stay in his home anymore. Every camera he had hacked. Every device bugged. Even the lights flickered strangely at night, as if someone was watching through the wires. He moved out by sunrise. No notes. No trails. No cards. No staff. He drove a rental car with a fake ID to a remote cabin he once bought and forgot about. For the first time in days, he breathed air that didn't smell like fear. But peace? It was gone. Replaced by a growing, buzzing hum under his skin like something terrible was near, just out of sight. He replayed Layla's video a dozen times. Her voice wasn't begging for help. It was inviting him into the fire. And God help him, he walked right in. He started decrypting the rest of the files. Each name had a file. Each file had a story. People who couldn't remember their children. People who forgot how to speak. People who woke up one day with everything gone except fear. And all were told the same thing. You're sick. You need rest. Signed here. Some were paid off. Some were institutionalized. Some disappeared. And all of it was covered under the Avalon program. An experimental trial run by Layla's husband's company. Approved quietly. Overseen secretly. Protected fiercely. Layla? She was the lone dissent. The last real doctor in a system that had turned into a machine of memory theft. But here's the part that made Adrian's stomach flip. File number 137. Patient name. Layla Monroe. Yes, her own file. Signed off without her consent. Admitted without her knowledge. They drugged her. Slowly. In small doses. Trying to break her without her even knowing it. But she was smarter. She noticed the memory gaps. The tremors. The faint ringing in her ears after her morning coffee they gave her. She ran her own blood tests. Found the compound. Documented the effects. Built her own resistance protocol. And when she confronted her husband, he had her locked in her office for 3 days. She recorded everything. Adrian found the audio logs. Click. Day 1. He says I'm overworked. That I'm imagining it. But I've traced the shipments. I know what's in them. I know who approved them. I know he's lying. Click. Day 2. My access is cut. My badge doesn't work. I think they're listening. My assistant is gone. I heard someone outside my door last night, just breathing. I'm not paranoid. I'm not crazy. Click. Day 3. If I disappear, if they find this, tell the world. It wasn't a hospital. It was a lab. Adrian shut the laptop. His hands were shaking again. But this time, it wasn't fear. It was rage. And guilt. Because the algorithm he sold the system that let companies flag threats before they acted had helped them track her down. Every email she sent, every appointment she made, every journal entry she wrote, was read by the machine he created. He didn't just let this happen. He helped build the system that erased her. He needed to find her. Not later. Now. He called Cashin again. No answer. Tried the emergency line. Dead. Drove to their last meeting point, the overpass. What he found froze him to the core. Cashin's car was still there. Door open. Laptop still running. But no Cashin. Just a sticky note on the screen. One word. Run. Adrian didn't go back to the cabin. He kept driving. One gas station at a time. Changing shirts in bathrooms. Staying invisible. He stopped at a highway motel. Burned the laptop. Crushed the flash drive. Copied only what he needed onto a burner. He stared at the screen, fingers trembling. He had 2 addresses. One linked to a burner Layla used to rent her motel room the night she disappeared. Another a private safe house registered under a false identity. The name? Eleanor St. James. He cross-checked the ID. Same face. Layla. Adrian didn't hesitate. He left everything behind and drove through the night. At 2:37 a.m., in a sleepy mountain town on the edge of nowhere, he parked outside a small, unmarked cabin tucked between 2 pine trees. It looked dead. No lights. No sound. But when he approached the door, he noticed something strange. The porch was swept clean recently. The mailbox had fresh fingerprints. And inside the window, a candle. Still burning. She was here. Or had been. He knocked. No answer. Knocked again. Silence. He tried the handle. Unlocked. He stepped inside. Everything stopped. No alarms. No screaming. Just stillness. But on the table, another photo. Layla. Holding the baby. Smiling. But tired. Eyes heavy with truth. And next to it, a note. Not for him, but for someone else. Written in a rush. Words smudged. If he finds this, tell him I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave. But they're watching again. The baby cried last night. I think he knows we're close. Tell him. I remember now. I remember everything. Adrian didn't move. Because just then, from the shadows behind him, a creak. Floorboards shifting. Not from him. From someone else. Someone waiting. The floorboard creaked again. Adrian didn't breathe. Didn't blink. His pulse thumped in his ears like a warning siren. He turned around slowly. And there she was. Not Layla. The man in black. Same coat. Same cold, expressionless eyes. No words. Just a small nod, as if to say, you've gone too far. Adrian lunged. But the man was faster. He slammed Adrian against the wall, hand pressing against his chest like iron. Where is she? Adrian growled. The man didn't answer. He just leaned in and whispered, you were never supposed to find her. The candle tipped. Flames licked the edge of the tablecloth. Adrian twisted, grabbed a nearby lamp, and cracked it across the man's face. He stumbled. Adrian ran. Out the cabin. Into the cold. Down the muddy slope, no plan, no phone, just panic. Behind him, the fire caught. Inside the cabin, the files, the photo, Layla's last note, all of it burned. Everything was disappearing, again. He made it to the tree lean. Collapsed under a frozen pine. Breath catching in clouds. Heart splitting wide open. How many secrets could one person carry? How much truth had to burn before anyone listened? And then he heard it. A baby crying. Faint, but unmistakable. He turned his head. There, nestled between 2 trees, barely visible beneath a tarp, was a makeshift shelter. A tiny bundle inside. Shivering. Crying. Adrian rushed over. He peeled the tarp back and saw him. Layla's son. Curled in old blankets. Tear-streaked face. Eyes like hers. But no Layla. Just a letter. He picked it up with trembling fingers. The envelope had his name. Inside, one handwritten page. Adrian, if you're reading this, it means you found him. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. They came earlier than I expected. I had to run farther than I thought I'd ever have to go. But you made it. You saw it. You understood. That means more to me than you'll ever know. He's safe now, but he needs someone who remembers. Someone who won't let them rewrite everything again. I know you didn't mean to be part of this, But now that you are, you can't walk away. You always wanted to change the world. This is your chance. Protect him. And whatever you do, don't forget. Adrian sank to his knees. The fire raged in the distance. The man in black was gone. And somewhere out there, Layla was still running, still fighting. And now so would he. Days later, a breaking news story hit every major channel. A billionaire disappears, leaving everything to a baby no one knew existed. But the reporters couldn't find Adrian. No phone calls, no sightings. He'd vanished. Just like Layla. Some said he'd gone insane. Others said he'd joined a secret resistance. One rumor even claimed he was exposing a global memory control network through anonymous drops. But the truth? He was somewhere quiet, feeding a baby who smiled when he heard his mother's name, downloading every file, every name, every truth, and preparing for war. 1 year later, a new blog appears online. Anonymous. Clean design. No ads. No trackers. It's called The Forgotten. Each post is a story. Stories about nurses who were silenced. About patients who forgot their own names. About families that vanished after questioning the system. And at the top of the site, one photo. Layla, holding her baby, looking directly at the camera. And beneath it, 5 words. You deserve to remember everything. And now, you're probably wondering, was Layla ever found? Did Adrian ever see her again? Or was she gone for good? Well, some say a woman matching her description helped smuggle a whistleblower out of Zurich. Others swear they saw her boarding a ship to Alaska with a child. But there's one video, grainy, black and white, from a highway gas station camera. A woman in a hooded coat. She walks in, buys diapers, leaves a note with the cashier. No one remembers her face. But the note? It said, "He's safe now. And so am I. For now." Sometimes, the people we ignore hold the very truth we're desperate to find. In a world full of noise, it's the quiet cries we fail to hear that echo the loudest. Kindness may seem small, but it can uncover secrets, heal broken hearts, and change the course of a life forever.